Thanks for staying with us. On our Healthy Tuesday today, we'll be discussing fertility issues in both men and women. Joining us on the show is one of our favorite professor of obstetrics and gynecologists at the LASUT. That's Lagos State University College of Medicine, LASUCOM actually, Ikeja, Dr. Adetokunbo Fabanwo. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you on the show. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. We'd like to start with the men because when we talk about fertility, we almost go straight to the women. So let's focus the first few minutes on men, on the prevalent fertility issues men have and fail to see on time. Because we have a lot of men that believe, and still now, surprisingly, that the problem is not with them. You know, because maybe while they were younger, they impregnated XYZ, somebody aborted the pregnancy for them. And it's like, you know what, I've been there, done that, and yes, so it's not me, it's got to be you. What are the prevalent fertility issues that men have today?
Okay, thank you. So when we talk about fertility issues, we have to know that it takes two to tango. Okay, and like you rightly said, men could, equally be affected just like women. And in times past, men had always denied that they had issues or they had problems. But men could be infertile. And at this point, I'd like to make a distinction between infertility and impotence. Because this is something that people usually mix up. A man could be impotent, and all that means is that he can't achieve an erection. It does not make him infertile. But it could be indirectly infertile because if he's not able to sustain an erection, he may not be able to achieve a productive sexual intercourse. Okay. But when you talk about infertility, it is inability of a man to produce standard semen that will be sufficient to impregnate a woman. And the common thread surrounding fertility issues in sub-Saharan Africa is about infection. Okay, when you look at infections, sexually transmitted infections affect women, they affect men. So if you're asking for commonest reasons why men would be infertile, it would be because they had been exposed to some sexually transmitted infection in the past, which was poorly treated or not treated at all. But of course, there are other issues that could cause infertility in men. For instance, if a man, when he was younger, had a mumps infection that led to swelling of the neck somehow, and nobody recognized it, invariably, it would affect his semen production later in life.
Wow.
Mumps occurritis.
You have to be above a certain age. I think the man has to be like above 13. If he catches mumps, then he becomes infertile. That's...
No, it's in early, about 6 years, 5 years, 6 years. Yes. Also, some babies are born and their testes are not descended. The testes remain in the abdomen, and because the heat in the abdomen is much higher than it would have been in the scrotum, the factory gets destroyed. So,
I know someone like that. I had a child.
Yeah, so by the time they grow up and they want to start having children, they find that they're not producing any sperm.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, sometimes with women, when they're not fertile, they can actually have they can do reverse surgeries or take fertility drugs and become fertile. Can that be done with men too?
Yes, like I said, the commonest cause of infertility in men would be infection. And what does infection do? It blocks the passages where the sperm is supposed to pass through. So in times past, we used to do surgeries to try and correct the blockage, so that sperm could pass. But in these days of technology, especially assisted reproductive technology, nobody wastes time doing that anymore.
So there's no need to fear if you think you have a problem, because mostly given technology, there
Yes,
is.
there shouldn't really be, theoretically, any infertile couple anymore in this day and age.
Amazing.
That's good. That's good news.
Yes.
So, what would you advise young men to do, for instance? You know, most of the time you don't know you're infertile till you get married, and then it's time to get your wife pregnant and realize there's a block somewhere. Would you advise that young men begin to do checks regularly? Because I know women go to do some of these checks regularly to just see how fit their body is, their womb, is this functional, is this happening? Is that something we should begin to tell our men, that they must do regular checks to be sure that everything is intact before getting married?
Okay, let me first say that there is a category of infertile couples in which, when we check, there's absolutely nothing wrong with man or woman. Okay, so, you know, a man could check all he likes, you know, but at the end of the day, he gets married, he's still unable to achieve pregnancy because he belongs to that category. And I may speak more about that later. But back to your specific question, I've always been an advocate of pre-wedding checks. I've always believed that intending couples should run a series of tests, fertility tests inclusive. Some may not agree with it. It's a moral question. It could jolly well be a religious question. But as a practitioner, as a professional, I've always been an advocate of that, because I do not believe that a man should get into an unproductive marriage. Neither should a woman. Why should an innocent girl who had lived an innocent life all through the years, okay, now fall into the hands of a man who had been reckless, who had had several sexually transmitted infections, and then, you know, is infertile. And then together now, they start the agony journey of looking for a baby. Why should that happen?
What's the
That's
factor?
what they
So what's
Love. Love.
It forgives all things.
love.
Past and present. But
So that's why I said religious issue will come into it. Yeah. I practice a religion, but also I'm a realist. I'm a realist, and I'm a professional. Yes. So I feel that if we
But no
institute...
better test than sexual intercourse, really, because that's
Should we
so you
do
say
the
that
do
they have to do the
before
do
the
for the
marriage?
marriage.
Sorry?
We're saying that no better test than actual sexual intercourse. So are you advocates that people should do the do before entering marriage?
No.
It's a question.
she's asking a
question.
question.
No. That would be a radical position. And it will not be a position that I will express on air.
But you
You will tell us after.
But, you know, I feel that if a man and the woman run tests,
Okay.
simple tests,
Okay.
Okay, like,
semen analysis,
okay.
let's see what you are bringing to the table.
Okay.
If it's 0, then I know, hey, please, I am not in this scan. The woman has fibroids. HSG, you know, test of the tubes. Your tubes are blocked. So if I love you sufficiently enough, then I'll take a decision. Okay, you have fibroids, your tubes are blocked. I'm ready to go through the journey with you. But at least I have the knowledge
Information.
That's sweet.
before we go into it. I have the knowledge.
Okay, so
before
let's
we go
talk
into it.
about
I'm not
women now.
ambushed.
You're not ambushed. Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about fibroid, or the cases for women now. What the issues that causes infertility in many women. Fibroid is one of them. The fact that a lot of people, infections, as you said, or can a woman still get pregnant with fibroids? I know,
Yes,
I know if people have, but some are always scared of that position.
Okay. The fibroid it technically would not be listed as a necessary cause of infertility. Okay, and I'll explain that. The major issue for women also remains infection. 60% of infertility in women is due to tuber blockage of the fallopian tubes. And the fallopian tubes are blocked either because the women had untreated sexually transmitted disease, or they had abortions that became infected, or they had deliveries that were not conducted in an aseptic environment. Those are the things that could happen to a woman. Of course, there are other hormonal causes of infertility in women. There are some women who produce a lot of milk in their breasts inappropriately. Okay, and that's because they are secreting a particular hormone called prolactin in excessive amounts. Their periods will become irregular, so they don't easily get pregnant. There are women who have polycystic ovary disease. You know, this is a disease that you find some women that may develop a beard or have mustache or have hair on their chest. Again, common, very common, but a lot of women don't recognize it. They don't seek treatment for it. So they also have periods that don't produce eggs. That's what we call anovulatory periods. And they find it difficult to get pregnant. Now let's talk about fibroids. Fibroids are common. As a matter of fact, 60 to 70% of women walking around have fibroids. Yes. But fibroids do not necessarily cause infertility. But there are some fibroids, depending on where they are located, that may cause blockage of the ends of the fallopian tube that may cause, prevent pregnancy from happening. So it's not all fibroids that, you know, would cause infertility. So proper assessments are usually done by us to decide whether, even though you have fibroids, whether we should go after it, you know, because it's disturbing you from getting pregnant, or we do not go after it. Because even going after it may have its own attendant issues because of post-operative complications.
You talked about hair earlier. I mean, are you saying that women who have hair should go get checked? That's not
Yes,
normal?
excessive hair. You're not supposed to have hair. You're not supposed to produce the hormone that causes hair growth.
Your chest and mustache.
It's men. We are the ones supposed to have beard and mustache. A woman has no business having beard.
But
So
some
that
just have little.
Yeah, I have like one or two here.
If it's just little, we won't worry. But I don't know if you have seen a certain character. She's a lady, but she's all over the internet. But she looks like a man. She has hairy chest, she has mustache, and you know, she
Someone like that should get checked.
clearly has polycystic ovarian disease. Clearly, it's a spot diagnosis. You
Clearly
can't
has what?
PCOS, polycystic ovary disease. It's a common disorder that causes infertility. That manifests like that.
How do you rectify that?
It's hormonal treatment. We have a specific hormonal treatment for it.
Right.
Different levels of hormonal treatment, and they work. It works. It's highly treatable, actually.
Wow. So how early do you even think that, like, a mother who has a daughter should see and visit the doctor as a preventive measure?
The
Preventive care.
measure for girls should be either don't have premarital sex, or if you have to have it, have safe sex.
Have a what?
Safe
Safe
sex.
sex. Okay.
Protected sex.
Very
Okay,
important.
that is the best preventive. There's no point haranguing your daughter, come and go and check, I want to know if you will. No, there's no need for that. You know, majority of women will be able to get pregnant, but it is due to certain lifestyles that all these things would happen.
Once you have so protected sex is not just about you getting pregnant. It's about you not getting infection
Thank
that might
you.
that might cause
Something.
infertility in future.
Three issues about protected sex: sexually transmitted infections, HIV/AIDS,
Yes.
and then pregnancy. Those are the three issues that occur that we advocate protected sex for.
Okay, so is there any such thing as compatibility tests with partners? Because I've seen someone who was dating a particular guy and she couldn't, they tried for a long time, she couldn't take him. And then she moved on to another relationship and within 2 months, she was pregnant. Is there anything?
I have a few couples too that were married for several years. They couldn't achieve pregnancy between themselves.
Everything was perfect.
Everything was okay. But by the time they separated, each one went his own way. And then they had...
So what could have happened?
What is it? Blood? What is that?
So, okay, so there's particular phenomenon, there's a particular condition that we know in which a woman develops antibodies to the semen of her partner. And as soon as they have sex and the fellow discharges semen, the antibodies are released and all the sperm cells are killed. Okay, and that happens all the time, and they're not able to achieve pregnancy. But as soon as they move on, okay, it's quite possible that the next person that she's going to have, she may not have that.
Is it a resource factor? Because we hear...
No, it's not resource. It's not resource. It's a different kind of immunological activity.
So when a woman, if you're married and you feel that after a few years you're not getting pregnant and both of you are fine, maybe it's time
we
for you.
would have done that. We would have done that. We would have conducted a test.
You do genotype, then you now come and do this one.
Now,
No,
let's
we
talk
do
about
that.
genotype for a second, sir, because I know people, I know, because you said you gave us some good news earlier that no woman at this 2023
No man or
Should
no man or woman should be having
infertile,
infertility
yes.
issues because there are options.
There are
Now, for
many of
people who are having this genotype issue, somebody is AS, want to marry AS, you will think that in 2023 that there are options where they don't have to stop getting married or falling in love with each other. Because I know people that would like to get married, but they have AS issues. Is there any technology today?
There is.
There is.
Oh, yeah. That you can
Fantastic.
have genetic selection, okay, in which specifically you will be able to, first and foremost, even if there's an AS and another AS, and they insist on having babies, okay, such pregnancies that they produce can be checked early to find out what kind of genotype that fetus is carrying.
Yes.
So that, you can then say
Start
either
it.
you leave it or do something about it. Excuse
Is
me?
it not
Painful.
expensive?
No. As a matter of fact, it's been done. The sickle cell center in front of Luth carries out such tests.
Yes. Many Nigerians don't have know this
Procedure.
because
They
don't know this,
a lot
yeah.
of churches will not marry you if you're AS.
No, that's
You
not.
don't need to do
There's no need to do that anymore.
So this is good information for lots of churches. Many people, once you have AS, they don't marry you at all.
That's wrong. Such churches are being reckless. Yes, they are being reckless. I don't think there's anything in the Bible that says that.
But you don't want to have children that you have to deal with sickle cell issues.
So
That's
now I'm
prevention.
saying there's a choice.
Yes.
You can go to the sickle cell center and do a chorion virus biopsy, check the genotype of your fetus. Is AA, she continues.
If it's not AA,
If
You
it's-
abort.
if
You
you
have
abort,
it.
you
Yeah,
remove it. And
that's even a sin again.
What's
it's not a sin because
What
it's
is
at
the
it's at the
sin?
No,
fetal stage.
you are selecting baby and killing some.
It's at the fetal stage. It's
don't
not
let-
a
don't
human
let's
being.
get
There's a
into
global
this.
debate
No,
on that.
that.
There's
I'm
a
not
global
going to
debate
go
on
into this discussion.
Yes.
that. Let me I have a call.
Out of 5 pregnancies, she had to remove 3.
Yes.
I don't know if I would
Just
like
as
to
it
do
is,
that
she's
over.
not-
After doing the biopsy.
Yes.
Let me take
and
this call.
She has 2 kids.
Let me take this call from Kaduna.
So
Good morning. Are you
makes
there?
sense. Makes sense.
Yes, good morning.
You're
once
live.
again.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Doctor, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm a professor, actually.
I want to
Give him his accolade.
the
Yes.
first part of the story. Hello?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to visit the first part of the story. He made a remark when he came in, the erection at an age. So, somebody...
Can you hear him?
No.
It's a bit muffled.
Are you with me? Are you with me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah,
ahead,
somebody
Joseph.
within the range of 55 and 60 suddenly lost erection from 100% to maybe 50%.
Okay.
What would that be? The reason? And maybe if it is possible, I can have the doctor's number for one-on-one question
Okay.
or something.
All right.
Okay.
So somebody, excuse me, sorry. Somebody used to have 100% erection. It's not having
I
about
think he
50%.
said an age. I
It's
think
age
he
between 50 and
55.
60 65 per age.
55.
Does
I
it?
don't get it. So what's the question?
The age of 50 to 55 years, 55 years
Yes.
is having 100. We used to have 100% erection.
And
Now it's
now-
having about 50% of that erection. What could be the cause?
Okay. So clearly, as we age, as men,
Also, it's natural.
yes, naturally, our erectile potentials reduce. And from the age of 50, 60, a man cannot expect that he will have the kind of strong erections he used to have at 40. And so that's why you have all these medications that help in supplying more blood to the penis and get a good erection.
Oh,
Drugs
because
like
there's some men in
Viagra.
that age that are still having children, sir.
It's not about
From having children.
No,
Children
you
are
can't
not
have erection. You can't have children.
No. You can
those
have
be
children without erection.
Oh, really? How you
Yes.
extract the semen from the penis?
No,
by
all you
itself.
have to do is to smuggle the thing in and discharge.
Smuggle
way
it
or the
where? From
other.
where to
Yeah.
where?
Huh?
Where are you smuggling it to?
There's no erection, but
Yes.
just smuggle it in and have an
By the
ejaculation.
door is okay, sir.
I don't even understand me. I'm confused.
So, Prof, let me ask this question. There's this, popular belief, especially people who believe in superstition, that it could be some spiritual beings that hold people from getting pregnant.
Yes.
And I don't know how you can use science to explain that.
No, I can't do. I don't know anything about spiritual beings. It's not. My own is medicine, pure medicine.
No, but the truth is that, listen,
These things happen.
let's not
But
discountenance
let
that.
me
Sir,
say.
let me not discountenance that because there's a part of the
There
spiritual.
may be, but let me say.
But he doesn't
Let me
know.
say that when you are waiting and you are highly spiritual, there is a tendency that your mind gets a bit more relaxed.
Okay.
Since you now have a God that you are communing with.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And that may help the fertility process. I know that clearly because we've identified that when women are highly anxious
Yeah.
about getting pregnant, they may not really get pregnant.
Right.
Yes.
Because there are certain other interplays of hormones that occur that have to do with the psyche. So I will not also discountenance it. But it's not about village people following you, no.
Okay, let me
I
take
don't
this
know
call
about
because it's a call. Let me take Hassan. Are you there? Yes, I'm here. Hassan and Yakub, we have to. You're welcome to the show. Go ahead.
Good morning,
Good morning, sir.
everybody. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
Please, there is this. Some people are naturally powerful, even after 50 up to 60.
Okay.
I know it's real.
Okay.
But what is very clear here, I can see that based on what is going on in the society, because you mentioned drugs that can help,
Drugs.
to have an erection.
Yes.
Are those drugs not having
Side
a kind of side effect or
Side
something?
effect.
Because people mention of Viagra, that if you continue to take Viagra, you will have stroke. And a lot of things will come to happen to you. So please, I
Yeah.
would like you to tell us more about it.
Okay. Did you get the question?
No, I didn't.
Mary, I want you
Okay,
to.
yeah, so he's saying that there's some people who even into the age that we have just
60.
discussed, 50s and 60s, that are still doing very well. But then you also talked about the drugs that could help for those who are having issues. And he says that the long use of these drugs, don't they have like side effects? And he talked about
Like
stroke. But I also want to add to that we even have young men who are in their 20s, 30s using some of these drugs. How does that affect them, in their later years?
Okay, so a lot of things have changed. Before we used to think that it's only the older men that will have erectile problems. But like you rightly observed, even young men in their 20s and 30s now are having erectile issues. But we think that most of those issues are psychological. Okay, we believe that the stress of living in a country like this, the chase for money, the aspiration to be big, all
Blue.
yes, affect young men, such that they may not be able to perform. Now, concerning different people going on for long, even after old age, yes, this thing is not evenly distributed.
Right.
There are people who are 70 and above who do not need any enhancement
Wow.
to have sexual intercourse. Now, the prolonged use, of course, there's nothing that will be good when it's applied excessively. So somebody like me, I won't recommend, using all these enhancements too frequently or for too long.
Right.
And
But would you use it? Would you once in a while? Because if you you get to a certain age and you overuse it and you get too excited, heart attack, not even just
No,
stroke,
even
heart
before
attack.
you start using, you have to do thorough checks. Your heart must be in a good condition. You must have a good ECG,
Right.
you must have a good echo. We must say that you are able. Because these drugs can make the heart become hyperactive.
Right.
A lot of men have gone while they were coming.
That's true. Let me take this call.
They came and they went.
Let me take. They came and they went. Let me take this call from Alaja Ibrahim. Good morning. Are you there, madam?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, please. My question is to Prof. What has the treatment of high BP got to do with erection in a man?
Okay. Thank you very much, madam.
Oh, it has to do. There are certain drugs used to treat high blood pressure that we know reduces the potential for erection. So it's got to do.
Right.
There are certain antihypertensive medications that disturb
affects-
erection.
Is there any...
Affect erection.
Okay.
Is there any
Mariam.
sorry, Miriam.
Okay, so we have this culture where you see it on the streets, people taking all sorts of herbs and drinks, and we're touting it even on TV that this will make you go hours. And we sell them, even in small
Brantashi.
kiosks. Yes, small kiosks. So these things, are they just maybe natural ways of enhancing, and so they're safe, or do you think that they have side effects?
Okay, two things. Whether they work or not, I don't know. Because you see, if you give somebody Fanta and you tell him that it's not just Fanta, I have put something in there that is going to make you have an erection, he may jolly well have an erection because it's in the mind, you understand? So whether they work or not, I don't know. Secondly, whether they are safe or not is also conjectural. But my own advice would be that people don't indulge in them because nobody knows the kind of toxicities that these kind of substances have on vital organs like the kidneys, like the liver, You find a lot of kidney failure all over the place now, a lot of liver failure, and people are wondering what caused them. It could jolly well have been previous ingestion of all these kind of substances that they do. So I would advise that people don't touch them.
There have been cases of long-term pregnancies. Normal pregnancy, 40 weeks, you're out. But you hear on social media, this one, for like 1 year, she's been pregnant for 1 year. They are going for hospital, they're going for pastors, churches, deliverance, just to get her to deliver. And we hear that when you get to certain places, there's some prayers, some serious fire prayers, the baby comes out. What causes that long-term pregnancy that people have?
Is it true?
I do not know that there are long-term pregnancies, but there may be perception of long-term pregnancy. For instance, a woman who is really not sure about her last menstrual period, who perhaps thinks that she has missed a period three months ago, and then really but she just recently got pregnant, would have been counting 3 months, and then she thinks that, I'm already 4 months, why is it not showing, etc., etc. So, but scientifically speaking, pregnancy is 40 weeks. Okay, and if women attend antenatal clinics, first and foremost, the age of the pregnancy would have been determined very early on through ultrasound scan. We would have known exactly how old the pregnancy we are dealing with is at the beginning. So we can then use that to continue to calculate.
So you see there's never been a situation whereby a pregnancy can be past more than 40 weeks. Is that what you're saying?
No. There are pregnancies that go beyond 40 weeks. Okay. But of course we intervene. We don't allow them to go more than 2 weeks after 40 weeks. We intervene and
Take them
deliver.
out.
Yes, we induce them. We don't allow them to go all over the place to pastors and so on.
Let me take this call. I'll come to you, BC. Biola, I believe. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're live.
So I have 3 questions. One of my sisters, she got pregnant 7 years after her marriage. In between, she has been seeing the gynecologist. It's late now. The gynecologist is late now. Dr. Ola. He used to be in Lutz before he died in a plane crash. So he was the one treating her, and he kept saying both the husband and the wife are perfectly okay, but he will prescribe medications and blood tonics, hormonal drugs, a lot of things. But it took 7 years. But later, she now has 4 kids, of course. But I want to know what could have caused the delay. Is it one of the things the prof explained about the woman's body rejecting the sperm or something? At that time, of course, I couldn't be asking the doctor.
Right.
So that kind of
Thank you,
question,
Abiola.
yes.
I think I get the question. So there are people who have been delayed for years. Could it be part of the disease earlier that caused the delay? And can it be fixed and turned around? Just in case your sperm is being rejected, can you find a way to turn it around such that your sperm is not rejected by your wife?
Yeah, so this unexplained infertility, but that's a category which some of them could be due to what I called cervical mucous hostility. The way we manage that is to try and deceive the immunological system to forget the nature of that semen that it's attacking. So we usually would prescribe that they would have condom sex for like 6 months so that there is no interface between the semen and the cervical mucus for about 6 months. We are hoping that immunologically that the mucus would have forgotten that this is an enemy. So by the time they resume having sex again, then they could achieve a pregnancy. So that's one of the ways we treat that. But if it persists for long, then we advise them to have assisted reproductive technology.
This is science and mind works. Very interesting. So what is responsible for women who lose pregnancy in 2 weeks, a week or two? Once they get pregnant, it drops. After a week or two, it drops, and they keep getting pregnant, and it keeps dropping.
Yeah, so there are early miscarriages, there are late miscarriages, okay? Now, what you're describing clearly, we have to be sure that the women were indeed pregnant. Because, a lot of women we see would say that, oh, I got pregnant after a week or two. They jolly well might not have been pregnant. But we know that progesterone, some hormonal deficiencies can cause pregnancy losses in the early stages, as well as some genetic abnormalities. If, for instance, there's an abnormality in either the spermatozoa or the ovum, the product will be genetically deformed and it won't survive. The body has a way of just rejecting abnormally formed embryos. But if we now talk about later on, like 3 months, 3.5 months, 4 months, those will be late miscarriages. Essentially, most of those are due to deficiencies in the cervix, incompetence of the cervix. So that by the time the pregnancy grows to that age, the cervix opens up and then they have a miscarriage. And again, that's highly treatable. We put a Shiroka stitch, we tie the cervix up. And
so we would hear of some women that have to be on bed rest for months. Is that still an option, or has science helped?
Well, we don't keep them for months again. There are not enough bed spaces to keep women for months, except in private hospitals. You only tell them what to do at home. Okay, people can manage themselves at home. They must not do stressful work. They must have somebody around who's always helping out. They must not have sex, because sex could provoke a miscarriage, and so on and so forth. They'll be okay. They don't have to be in hospital all the time, except there are some other medical conditions that need to be treated in a hospital setting.
I was going to go back to the high blood pressure medicine, because I know someone who is actually taking high blood pressure medicine, and he cannot, and he used to be a very active person, but now So now he's very miserable. He's always like jumping down everybody's throat. And I believe that it's because, is there nothing that they can do for that kind of person?
No, they could change the medication. It's not all antihypertensive medications that have that effect. If, for instance, he complains bitterly to his cardiologist that, look, Oga, this thing is affecting it, they will change the medication to a better one.
All right, so do you help in helping with women who have lost their sexual or their that they can't have sex?
They don't have
the
urge
urge.
and the
Why can't they have sex?
No, as in there are women that say maybe at a certain age they don't have the urge, or some men too they don't even know what are there herbs you can use or medication you can use to help you get in the mood?
Well, yes, I'm aware that there are certain medications that are being developed to manage female sexual dysfunction, okay, because it's a recognized entity.
Oh, okay.
There are women who lose interest in sex, but some of them are reacting to their husbands. You know, so you really need to sit them down and find out why.
Dig deep.
Yes, the man may be drinking, the man may be womanizing, the man may be beating them up, the man may not be leaving money. You know, so how do you have sex with such a man? You know, so you must analyze the problem. So it may not be an organic problem. It may be just a psychological problem that you can just deal with by counseling of the couple.
That's good. We've heard so far that those young men who do a lot of very strenuous exercises end up becoming infertile. I don't know how true it is.
No, I don't know about
with
that.
lifting and muscle building.
No, I've never heard that before.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Talking about that, Andrew Streatham says if you exercise regularly, like boxing, weight training, cardiovascular exercises, and use those NACAM drugs, aka Viagra, you'll be okay. It's the men who don't exercise and are chronic agitators or baba with pregnant belly that are the problem.
There's a contradiction in that. Okay. If you exercise well, if you lift weight, the blood flow to your penis will be perfect. You wouldn't need any of those enhancements.
Exactly.
Yes.
So Gracie is asking, good morning, ladies. Please, my question to your guests is there treatment for azoospermia? If yes, what can one do? I don't know what azoospermia is. Maybe
it's low sperm count. Okay. No, sorry, it's absence of sperm. You know, yes, assisted reproductive technology. A man who does not have any sperm cell at all can still be helped to achieve pregnancy through a technology that is called cytoplasmic sperm injection. ICSI is a technology that is available in fertility centers, in which they will go down now to his testes to extract his cell and use it to fertilize an egg.
Whoa, his own.
Interesting. Let me
So
take
not
this.
donor sperm, but his...
No, his own.
His own sperm.
His own.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let me take this call from Halima. Good morning, our last caller.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Halima.
Good morning. Doctor, please, I am 47 years old.
47?
So yes, 47. So I've tried many gynecologists. So the last one I went was, I concluded for IVF. I started the IVF injection. So the day for retrieval of eggs, they said they couldn't find any eggs. So I really felt disappointed. I went last week. So I don't know.
Is it possible for you not to
But
find... Go ahead.
Sorry?
Go ahead, Halima.
I'm having my regular menstruation.
Okay.
So I don't know what happened. I'm having a 26-day regular period.
Okay.
So I don't know what happened.
All right.
They couldn't retrieve any eggs. So I don't know if there is still hope.
Thank you very much, Halima. Is that possible, not to retrieve eggs from a woman?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
So she's a 47-year-old woman who's gone for IVF.
Yes.
She says she sees her period regularly.
But
But
they're
they
having problem
want
getting eggs.
harvesting.
Yeah, so, you know, so the older a woman gets, okay, the number of eggs that can be used start to reduce. Not only that, even if they find eggs, some of them may not be usable because they have abnormalities. And that trend increases with age. So I can relate to what she's saying, that the fertility specialists have not really been able to find a good egg to use for her. So she should just go for donor eggs.
Donor eggs.
Yeah.
So this brings me to a conversation of, we hear this abroad mostly, where women are harvesting their eggs much earlier. Because as you know, our lifestyle has changed. Women are into their careers. Do we have this facility?
We do have. We do. As a matter of fact, it's a good time for me to say this, that Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State has invested a lot, in the Institute of Fertility Medicine in Lasut, Ikeja, where we offer assisted reproductive technology for less privileged people. It's a partnership with the Bridge Clinic, and it is part of the Bridge Clinic's corporate social responsibility. So we offer assisted reproductive technology to people who would never have imagined that they will be able to afford it. So we have that in Ikeja. It's an opportunity to let people know.
It's affordable.
There's this question, sorry. Cool DJ Funky Flex. He says, please, does a performance enhancement drug that is used for weightlifting have after effects on men?
I don't know, the steroids, talking about steroids.
Yeah. I think so.
Steroids could be dangerous if they're overused. Steroids could affect the kidneys, clearly. Yeah. So I wouldn't say that a man should use steroids for too long.
Going back, because we have to wrap up soon, going back to this Fertility Institute. So are you saying that if I'm a young girl, 35 or 40 years old, and I feel that, okay, maybe I'm not yet ready to have children, I can harvest my eggs and keep, and you keep it for me?
You will keep it for you.
You're not going to sell it?
But you should be younger.
Don't wait. You can be younger, so you can wait to like 30s.
To be a legal issue, if it's so, it cannot be so.
So no matter what age you are, you can actually keep your eggs, and they freeze your eggs for me. That's
and use it later.
Also,
people that are terminally ill, may offer that, look, you can take my eggs and keep. Somebody else may need it after I've died.
That is fantastic.
Sorry, I was just, because she said 30, 40. What is the best age? Would you say someone has the means to harvest and keep the eggs? What age would you advise the person?
It would depend on the reasons why she's harvesting her eggs. It's not really a normal thing. Yeah. We're not talking about normality here. It's really an abnormality. But I believe that in the 30s would be the best time to do such a thing if you need to do it.
Oh, fantastic.
But how long can you wait before you use it? Can you use them at 50, for instance?
Oh, forever, because they are kept under minus something degree nitrogen. It can be there forever.
So even you get married at 50, you can still have great eggs to have kids. Oh, that's fantastic news.
They should have told me
best
because
news.
I wanted children.
Well, that's fantastic news. I love to hear that, and I'm happy that we have that in Nigeria. Because
We
they have it abroad.
Not only, you see, we in Lasut were the only public health facility in Lagos that offers assisted reproductive technology at 50% the cost for the citizens of Lagos. And we have to just be grateful to our very hardworking governor for supporting this.
Thank you so much. We have to run. Thank you so much. We're speaking to Professor Fabanwo. Sorry, sir. Let me do that again. We're talking to Professor Adetokunbo.
Yes.
Fabanwo.
Right.
Thank you, sir. He's Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology at the Lagos State University College Medicine. That's LASUCOM. Thank you, sir, for coming. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much.
That is all we can take on today's show. I hope you've learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Thank you.